Hello and a very good evening and welcome on this Wednesday night to the Hampton League Netball Show. Round 9 coming up, the halfway mark of the season. I can't believe we're already halfway through, or almost. And so much netball still to be played, but I guess when we reflect back in time, the first 8 weeks been sensational netball, ladder positions. It's so tight. We're really having a great open division netball season, along with all the other grades as well. We can't forget all the other grades, but we do focus on the open netball competition. Kate Lindsay, back once again. Great to have you on board. And you look fit. You've been going to F45 or something or other.
I have, yeah. I'm doing the F45 challenge, so 30 days in, essentially eating air and, not much else. But no, it's been awesome. So glad to be back.
Fantastic. And another good round of netball.
Cracking
well.
game. Yeah, cracking round, yeah. I think we'll chat about it later, but there are obviously some games that we thought might have gone the other way or a bit closer or greater margins, but I'm so excited for this weekend as well. I think we've got, a couple of really good weekends of netball that we can get excited about. And
I guess too, like looking at the games, there's some important ones in regards to ladder positions, and I know there's still lots of netball to be played, but certainly there's some 8-point games in my mind amongst the round this weekend. And
I think, after this weekend, we might know our top 5 leading into midway. We might have all of our teams may have got a win. There's a big game that Portland are taking part in, and obviously South and Cobden. We've been waiting for that since Grand Final last year.
Yeah, that's right. Can't wait for that one, and we'll analyse that one very, very soon. Hey, we've got 2 legends on the Zoom ready to have a chat with us tonight, and the first one's at the Warrnambool Football Club. New recruit, Meg Carlin. Meg, thanks for jumping on and having a chat.
No worries, thank you for having me.
Hey, first and foremost, how are you enjoying the new surroundings of the Warrnambool Blues? I know that you were at Croydon last year, but a new opportunity and a new club this year. How are you enjoying life at the Blues?
Yeah, I'm loving it. It's been so much fun. The girls have been so welcoming and yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
Hey Meg, you've got a big game on the weekend. You come up against North, with the winner likely to take a spot in the 5. How do you feel sort of going into that team and do you think into that game, and do you think there's any additional pressure on the team to perform in probably a season defining match?
Yeah, I think it'll be a really good game. I think the outcome could go either ways. North are very versatile, they can very similar, they can move their positions around. But I think we just have to stick to our game, stick to what we know and stick to what we're good at. And our team's actually starting to really find its glue, and we're starting to stick together. So yeah, mid-season it's feeling pretty good.
Hey Meg, I reckon we've seen some different positional lineup changes for you guys than we've probably seen in the past at the Blues. Obviously we've seen Amy Worm will probably play a little bit more in defence this year. Eva Ryan getting a really good chance in the goal shooting circle, and you've got some really lovely mid-quarters. What's been your role this year under Peaky and also Raywin?
Yeah, I think Amy down in D is really helping us a lot. It's really helping Matilda Fitz as well in D. Those two are working really well together. Sarah Cowling in the mid-court, she's doing her job. She just is so good at keeping our mid-court in line. And we have a good rotation with our goalies. So if me, Belle or Eva aren't doing the job, Amy's can always come down and we've got Eva to go down in D, or Sarah Perry or someone like that.
You are very spoilt for choice and you've got lots of fantastic players at the Blues, so I understand it's probably a bit of a juggle trying to fit you all into a side every week. But if we reflect on last weekend's game, you guys ran with Cobden for 3 quarters, which we'll touch on later, Healy. But does that give you confidence knowing that you can take it up to a team like Cobden?
Yeah, I think it was a really good game. It was a really good game to watch, and it was wasn't a surprise, but I think it was a very big confidence boost for our team, knowing that we could stay with them for that long. And I think that it's a good practice for us for next time we come across them.
So looking at that last quarter, and that's probably where they got you in the end, is there 1 or 2 things that you sort of talked about as a team, Meg, just to say this is what we probably need to improve on next time around? Was there anything in particular that you guys sort of outlined?
I think we just ran out of gas. I think we just kind of slowed down. Cobden, as we know, a very quick, very structured, very good team. I just think we lost the pedal a bit and couldn't find that extra gear to keep up with them.
Hey, one question before we let you go, and we've really appreciated your time. Tell me a bit about Kate Lindsay. Obviously, you were a Croydon last year. Kate, very influential netball person. How'd she go as a mentor and as a guiding coach for someone like yourself?
Nah, she's brilliant. Having her in the Hampton side is so good. Like, her and Will are awesome, and I do very much miss all the Croydon coaches, but yes.
Damn, I thought you were going to give me a little bit more there, Megs. I hope you chuck a little bit of tongue in cheek. But hey, mate, thanks for jumping on. Really appreciate your time. You're doing a great job at the Blues, and really appreciate you having a word with us.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me.
See you, Meg.
Meg Carlin from the Warrnambool Blues, and you know what I love? Let's play some D. I love D. I love the
basketball
terminology.
term.
Yeah, basketball term, and nice player. And she's a good young kid. Speaks well.
She speaks fantastic, it was great to have her on. And obviously, she's been a really good recruit for Warrnambool in the off season, and it's fantastic to see her playing really well. And I want to see her netball grow and develop this year.
Yeah, fantastic. Hey, let's go to the Zoom again. Another legend we're going to catch up is from the Terang Mortlake Bloods, and it's Emma Lucas. Em, thanks for jumping on. You're having a chat.
Hi guys, thanks for having me.
Hey, tell us a bit about your season to date. I know I'm talking about the team. It seems like even though ladder position, you guys are just outside the 5, but I reckon your performance has seemed you've been playing as more of a top 5 side, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we've probably been a little unlucky. We've had, I think, a loss to North by 4 or 5, and then we lost to Warrnambool by 2 or 3. So we probably could have picked up a win extra here or there as well. So we sort of feel as though we're still running with that sort of middle group in the ladder. We're definitely not far behind them. So this week playing Croydon, who are probably at the top end of that middle section. It'll be really good to see where we're at, and hopefully if we can put 4 quarters together, we might even manage to get a win.
You mentioned, Em, that you've maybe drifted off in games, or there's been patches where other teams have been able to get on top of you. What has Shani sort of identified that may be a key component to that, or is there it's just happening every game, or what sort of seems to be the main driver around not being able to run out the 4?
We haven't really identified anything in particular. I think it's just maintaining when we come off. It seems to be the break that might be our issue. So when we come off for a break, really making sure we're going back on at the start of the quarter and pushing hard, rather than sort of getting a little jump ahead of us someone might be, and then we're not able to catch it back up. So hopefully we're paying attention to it and really putting an effort to work towards it at the minute. So fingers crossed it'll pay off for the second half of the season.
And I guess too, Em, like new coach, new game style, the structures and methods going to change a little bit from different years. How's Shani settled in, and how are the girls enjoying playing under Shani? Obviously, she's very, it seems very methodical and very routine based. Obviously, with her teaching background, how have the girls sort of enjoyed playing under Shani early on in the season?
Yeah, Shani's doing a great job. Just on we do only have 2 players that have played in the last 5 years together consistently, being myself and Jackie. So when you look at it like that, we have got a brand new team basically. And I think if we stick together a little bit, and hopefully Shani will keep guiding us, we might actually start to put some 4-quarter efforts together. I think it's just that sort of cohesiveness that your teams like South and Croydon are lucky enough to have, because they've been together for a while. But Shans is doing a great job as the senior coach, as are all our senior coaches. We've really this year taken on the idea of using the whole netball group as a squad, rather than splitting off into open Div 1, Div 2 and 3, which is reaping benefits, especially down in Div 2 and 3. I think our Div 2 are sitting second on the ladder, and Div 3 are second and still undefeated. So I think, just the new outlook, how she's going about it. She's a club person, as loyal as they come. And yes, great year so far, and the vibes are still very, very high. So it's good.
That's fantastic to hear, and I love the philosophy around it's one netball club and bringing everyone together on that journey. It also means if players are moving between teams, that there's structures and stuff that they're familiar with. In terms of the open side, are you guys sort of settled in your team, or are there still things that Shani's looking at before you sort of have to finalise your squad? And then in addition, just give us the names of a few of your junior players that have played up in seniors this year.
So in terms of open at this stage, sort of those who have had a go at the minute in coming from juniors is like Alice Stu and Alice Kane, who have both come on to defence into goalkeeper, which is a great option. It gives me a sub out, someone a bit taller that can take on these big goal shooters, because I'm not that tall, not as tall as them anyway. So yeah, that's been great, and they're both doing a great job. And then against Port Fairy, we had Charlie Dillon, who's an under 15. She came on for her first open game as well. So she played a half, I believe, in goal attack. And did a ripping job as well. So it's really nice that Shani's able to get these girls on the court and give them a go. Regularly, most weeks, actually, Ava Grundy is on the court. She sort of takes a wing attack centre position just to give our mid-quarters a little bit of a break if need be. And she comes on, she's a beauty. She's a ready-made senior player, and it won't be like, I suppose next year when she is senior, she'll be in the open without a doubt. So, yeah, the juniors are going really, really well. And like Shani said, actually last week at training, she doesn't feel any hesitation at all to put any of them on the court to stop someone else off. So that's a great sign, I think, and a good sign of things to come for the Bloods in the future.
Absolutely. That's really refreshing and great to hear. Hey, last one before we let you go, Em. You play against Koroit this week. It's going to be a great battle. Like, the Saints are going beautifully, and as I said before, I don't think the ladder position really truly indicates how well you guys are going. I think you're playing some really nice netball, considering it's a new season with a lot of new players, and obviously not that cohesiveness quite as yet, but certainly will come later in the year. So a really big game against the Saints this week. Yeah,
it will be a good game. I think we're looking forward to seeing what Koroit have got to offer too. We know they've got some young players as well, so might show a bit of our youth versus their youth at the same time. But hopefully, if we can get on top of them early, which we seem to have strong first quarters, fingers crossed, we'll be able to run it out and take the win.
Hey, Em, thanks for jumping on the Netball show tonight. Really appreciate your time. We're loving catching up with the players from the Terang Mortlake Blood. So thanks for taking the time out.
Perfect. Thanks for having me.
Emma Lucas from the Terang Mortlake Bloods, and she's one of their leaders. I think she might be even captain, actually.
I think you're
right. From the night we had the launch night, her and Shani were up speaking about their program, and isn't it really refreshing to hear that, obviously they're not just segregating open and then Divi 1, Divi 2, Divi 3. It's one netball club, and they're all enjoying the successes and so forth. Even though the open division, they're sitting 3 and 5, but all the other sides have blossoming as well, so it's really refreshing to hear.
And Em took the opportunity to talk about her other senior sides, which I think just goes a long way to show that the culture at the Terang Football Netball Club is that one group mentality, and I think it's fantastic, and it's reaping rewards. I think it's going to be a cracking game on the weekend.
Yeah, I reckon the Bloods are a real chance against the Koroit Saints on the weekend. I think it's going to come down to the wire, to be truthfully honest. I won't share my tip just yet, but I think it's going to be pretty close. Hey, let's look at the highlights of last weekend. Some great games in the Hampton Football Netball League. Cobden taking on the Blues, and as we spoke, the Blues really gave them a good shake, didn't they? They were 30-36 at three-quarter time, 6 goals down, but then, as we know, Cobden just flicked the switch, and they were up 55-36 in the end. So a really good 19-goal performance to 6 in that final quarter.
Huge last quarter, and they've obviously made some changes in that last quarter to get the margin to where it was, and as Meg said, Warner will probably run out of legs. Amy Wormwood was incredible for the Blues from all reports, and Emily Finch only shot 27 on her.
Yeah. So, tough gig when you play against the big word.
Absolutely.
Hey, next game was Koroit taking on the North Warrnambool Eagles, and it was a close game. The Saints getting the job done by 2, which is a terrific effort by the Saints. They're actually going really nicely at the moment, sitting in 3rd position, but a nice game all together. Yeah,
and Koroit were down by 4 going into the last, and you look at the ages on court. They had Indy O'Connor in goal attack, who's 13, Shelby O'Sullivan 14. So I think that gives them a bit of confidence being able to run out a game with young players.
Hey, this is a much anticipated game, and the Seagulls got the job done. Wasn't the greatest conditions over at the Gardens, but the Seagulls got the job done in the end.
And quite easily, 16.
To win 49-33.
I think last week it was difficult for us to tip who was going to win. It is wonderful to see that Port Fairy have had a win, and on their home court. I think it's been a long time, so it's wonderful for the club. Yeah, absolutely. And then the other games we'll go through as well. Hamilton took on Terang Mortlake, and the Kangaroos got the job done pretty comprehensively, 69-43. And Danielle Van Kalken just quietly a lazy 48. Incredible.
So it must have inspired her last Wednesday night.
I reckon.
And then the Roosters got the job done as well, defeating Portland 70-30. I actually thought that was a really good performance by the Tigers. We know that South Warrnambool was so strong across each third, but to shoot 30 goals against a pretty superior defensive lineup, I thought that was a pretty sound performance.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'd be happy with that. South probably would have wanted to push that out a lot more, but I think for them it was an opportunity to try a couple of different combinations and see how they work. But their mid-court was on fire. So, Ali O'Connor, Izzy Ray and Meg Kelson were just, wonderful throughout the day. So,
yep.
Some big performance.
And then I love the goal shooters.
Yes.
Holly Phillips, a lazy 47.
Oh, isn't she
it was actually
great?
really nice to see Libby Morris in there as well. She shot 8, got a chance in there, and she's a really lovely player. And to be honest with you, she's probably a girl that, or a shooter, could be in any other side and nearly feature in that that top 2 combination. So pretty hard when you've got to try and bump out Annie Blackburn and Holly Phillips. But
she can run across the midcourt too, which I think is really good.
Well, she's a nice size.
Yeah,
nice
correct.
size.
She's quick. She's got really good footwork, and I think it's a good one for Will to have on the bench to bring on if he needs to.
Unique contingencies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, let's look at round night action. Our match of the day on Hampton League Live is Warrnambool taking on the North Warrnambool Eagles, and I think the game at the netball court is going to be equally as important because if we look at the ladder, we've got North Warrnambool sitting in 5th, Warrnambool sitting in 6th, both on 4 and 4. Pretty important game for mine.
Yeah, and I think so the winner will go into the 5, so it's either going to be North or Warrnambool that will sit in that 5 at the end of this round. I think it's going to be a great match. North will be disappointed, losing to Croydon last week, and Warrnambool probably need to figure out how they're going to hold on for that 4 quarters. So I think it'll be really tight. I think Warrnambool will get up by 3.
I was going to tip Warrnambool as well. I just thought it was really buoyed by their performance against Cobden last week, and obviously that 4-quarter performance is going to be pretty important because we know that North are fit, but I think the Blues can just narrowly hold on by under 5 as well. Camperdown take on Hamilton. It's going to be a bit of a learning curve, I reckon, for the Camperdown Magpies because we know Hamilton are travelling beautifully under the guidance of the Somerville sisters.
They are. Yeah, they're a very nice side and had a big win on the weekend against, a side that is trying to get into that 5, so I think that will give them a lot of confidence. Camperdown, will probably be disappointed with the margin against Port Fairy, so hopefully they can just go back to what they did 2 weeks ago and put out a really solid performance. But I think, Hamilton will win this one quite easily.
Yeah, I think the Kangaroos as well. Terang, Mortlake and Koroit. I'll tell you what, Koroit going beautifully, 6 and 2, sitting 3rd on the ladder. Then we've got Terang Mortlake 3 and 5, and as Emma said, they could be easily 5 and 3.
Yeah, they have lost a couple, through lapses of concentration that they would have thought that they might win. So it's going to be a great game. It's at Terang. They'll have their home crowd. They'll obviously have a lot of support there. It'll be a really tight one, but I do think Koroit showed on the weekend that they do have the experience on the court, but also the youth that can bring them through a tight match. So I think they'll win in a really close game.
Yeah, I was going to stick with Koroit as well. And just notably, and you might be able to tell a little bit more, I see a little gun goal shooter in there alongside Nell Mitchell on the weekend by the name of Louis Brown, former Mermaids, still Mermaids superstar. Louis would be pretty tough competitor on the netball court.
She is, funnily enough, she started in Div 2 and then I ended up taking her to Div 1. Yep. And then on Saturday, she sat on the bench for Open. Nell had been unwell and we just needed a backup plan. And she came on and teamed up really well with Indy O'Connor, who played her first full game in Open. Yep. And Lou's just such a vocal, encouraging person to have on court. And I think it gave our young attacking line a lot of confidence.
Could we see a little bit more Louis Brown in the Open division over the coming weeks?
I'm going to tell Kate and Kerry no, because I'd like to keep her in Div 1.
Tell you what though, just a nice little foil in there to guide that younger crew like Indy O'Connor and Shelby O'Sullivan and Layla Monk, who's still relatively young. So
a great person.
I'm going to go the Sainers as well. Casey will kill me if I don't tip it. So Casey Barley, not Owen, Barley.
Yes.
I think I call her Casey Owen all the time.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, anyway. Naturally. Yeah.
Cobden South Warrnambool. Wow, what a game that's going to be. Both sides are going beautifully at the moment, and I know if you probably speak to Sophie and speak to Will, there's still a lot of work to do, but geez, what a matchup for the halfway season. And I'm just thinking, like, later on in the year, round 18, what a finale it's going to be too, with these two sides meeting as well.
Yeah, can I tip a draw?
Hey, if you want it.
I was thinking about this on the way here, and Cobden have obviously explored with their lineup for the past, few weeks, and they've got lots of plans A, B, and C, and they could bring out any changes to combat South. South have run with an 8 for the whole year, and an 8 that serves them really well. My only question is what happens if they need a plan C, D, E? What happens there? So I think, Cobden are probably more versatile, but South I feel like are probably a bit more connected. So I think it's going to be a really tight game. Whoever wins, I think it's going to be under 3 or 4 goals.
Well, I'm a stats man. So the Roosters are on top, obviously, and the Bombers have had the 1 draw. If you look at their 4, South have shot 556 goals. Cobden 559, very close. South have conceded 246, Cobden 284. So 38 goals. There's not much really in between what they've conceded. So on the statistical front, they're pretty even.
They are. I think that's why it's difficult to pick.
Yeah,
but
I don't want to select this one. I really don't
maybe
want to
we could go. Maybe Cobden might have their second draw for the season.
Yeah, maybe.
South might have their first draw. It's a really tough one. I'm really looking forward to being able to talk about it next week though, because I hope that it is, it lives up to the hype and is like the grand final.
I don't know. Who are you tipping?
I said a draw.
Draw. I'm going to go draw as well.
No, you can't.
I'm going weak as water. I don't want to tip either side. Because I'll get it from
You
either side.
will.
I'm going to draw as well. In the last game, Portland taking on Port Fairy. We saw the Seagulls get their first win of the season last week. Could we see the fortunes of the Portland Tigers change this week? At home, we know they're a different side at home. They just seem to play their netball court really, really well. I think they're a fair show at home on the weekend against Port Fairy.
I agree. It'd be nice to have, Camperdown, Port Fairy and Portland all go into the midway break with a win. Yeah, I think it's good for the competition. I think it's, as you say, Portland are hard to play at home, and they'll definitely have fire in their belly, as will Port Fairy wanting to string together too. But I think that Portland will get
I'm going
chocolates this weekend.
Portland as well.
Yeah,
I think they get the job done. Hey, another big round of Hampton Netball coming up. Round 9 action. We must thank our major sponsors, Southwest TAFE, Powercore, McDonald's and SunGold Fresh Local Milk. Get out and support those major sponsors. They throw in all their hard-earned into the Hampton Football Netball League to make sure our football and netball programs are certainly to the level that we're at the moment. They're absolutely sensational. And before I forget, and we might talk more about this next week, but what a weekend for the Hampton League and the Association Champs. The qualifying rounds at Warrnambool on Sunday. Our under 13 reserves, under 13s, under 15s and all under 17s, all winners. So they'll join the seniors and go to Melbourne in a few weeks' time to go to the next level of competition, which is unbelievable. And big shout out to all our coaches. We've got some gun coaches that have put their hand up, and all the girls that put their hand up and played. Absolutely sensational.
Huge commitment from them and their families, obviously, to support them throughout that day, but a wonderful result for Hampton to have every team represented, and hopefully they can bring back some flags like they did last year. It was a really successful tournament last year. And I was chatting to Leah, and she said that it's the first year that Hampton have taken 2 under 13 sides, which is just wonderful that there's 11 other players that have been given an opportunity to represent the Hampton League, and it's wonderful for the future of the league that we have so many young kids that can represent us.
Yeah, we do it well, the Hampton League. We absolutely do it well. That's why we're one of the best in Victoria, not even Australia. That's how good we are. So, well done to all the coaches and players at the Association Champs last week. Hey, Kate, have a great weekend. I know you'll be out at the Terang Recreation Reserve this weekend for that mighty Divi 1 clash between the Bloods. And we look forward to speaking more netball next Wednesday night. Have a great weekend, and hopefully your team wins.